Hi, I'm Michael Marr, CEO of OnePassport. As anyone who's watched my videos before would generally know, OnePassport is a workforce compliance system. So we generally work in regulated industries like health, aged care, mining, construction, where there's regulated mobile workers. But due to COVID, we're starting to get a lot of companies that are white collar offices that might be consulting firms or finance, etc., who are opening up and going, shit, for the next 24 months at least, we need a COVID vaccination management system. So tracking the COVID vaccination certificates, potentially test results if people are going on site or traveling and they need to have a PCR or a rapid antigen test before they travel. But we've started getting another group come to us, especially out of finance and banking sectors, because of three key reasons. And I want to go into this because it's not our normal market. But if you're thinking about could OnePassport work for us, I just want to give you this example that happened this week. We had a large finance group come to us, and the initial discussion was very much about immunisation, but then it flowed on to other areas that they really were stuck and needed help with, but it wasn't a regulated sector per se. You didn't need everybody regulated with AHPRA like you do with, say, healthcare. So we broke it down into three buckets or three verticals for them by this discussion. It made it easier just to look at the three. So vertical one was COVID. Like many businesses, to reopen the workplace, they need to ensure that they're providing a safe workspace for their employees and their contractors to come back to the office. In the days when if you don't take the right measures, you can get in a lot of trouble. I mean, at worst case scenario, directors can go to jail for manslaughter if people die. They need to make sure that everyone who's coming back to the office is vaccinated. They need a way of tracking that information. They need to do it within the guidelines of the Privacy Act. The reputational and financial risk for getting it wrong is too big to make a mistake. So bucket one for them was they needed a COVID vaccination management system. But bucket number two was because they work in finance, there's always the risk of fraud. Like many industries, there is always the risk of fraud. So everyone who came into the business, they wanted to do a police check on them. They wanted to do a credit check on them. And they need to hold that information somewhere and periodically do an update on it because people's situation changes. I remember I'm ex-military and some of the scenarios that I had out of positive vetting in the intelligence services. And the intelligence people saying, look, we will do all these checks when someone's a 25-year-old graduate, but that's when they're clean. It's on the 3-year renewals when they're in their mid-30s and they've picked up a cocaine habit, or they're a closet gambler with huge debts. And these are blackmailable things, or things that they might steal money to feed a habit for. And that happens not at 25, it happens further down the track. So just because when you hire someone, you do the background checks, it doesn't stop there. You might want to do them every couple of years as part of an ongoing risk management process. So they need to help that from a risk of fraud. So that's bucket number two. Bucket number three was access. Who can do what? Because we have some pretty serious things in our financial organization. They had who can advise customers, who can talk about the products, who's licensed to talk about the products. Then they conduct trades and foreign currency trades, share market buying and selling, etc., all within this group. And so they needed to say who could execute a trade, who could call up Lloyd's of London and say, hey, we'd like to do a foreign currency exchange with you. Who had that access? So bucket one was vaccination management. Bucket two was risk mitigation or risk management. And bucket three was access management. All of them are risks to the business overall. And they said, we believe OnePassport will be the best way to do that. So it was just a different case from our normal health, aged care, mining, construction. But there's a lot of business out there who are in that space. So I hope that helps. Have a great day. Take care.